Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to serve the devotees, and we thought of speaking on this very, very important and relevant topic about taking care of Krishna's devotees. In our scriptures, we find many, many beautiful verses glorifying the process of bhakti and how rare it is. We have the words Brahmanda Brahmite, Kono Bhagyavan Ji, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Rata Bij, wherein in this verse very wonderfully explains that a person after many, many lifetimes going around in the various on his journey in the Brahmanda, he's a very rare person, a very, very special person. Bhagyavan Jeev comes in contact with a Sadguru, comes in contact with the spiritual master, and he installs in his heart the Bhakti Rata Bij. So the word to be specifically underlined or noticed in this is Bhagyavan. We also have the words Bhavanam Janmanam Ante Jnanamamam Prapadyante Vasudeva Savramiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So again, the verse which comes is the devotee who has Vasudeva, who surrendered to Vasudeva, is Sudurlabha. Not only Durlabha, but Sudurlabha. Very, very rare. So here we have these two verses and many, many more describing the rarity and the speciality, the special significance, the special position of a person who, after so many millions of lifetimes, going through different levels of Krishna, of levels of spirituality, finally comes to a situation where he actually gets to understand who is Krishna, especially not only Krishna, but through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada in our ISKCON, to understand Krishna of Vrindavan, the highest understanding. So Sudurlabha and Bhagyavan. So when we have something which is very rare and something which is very special, what do we do? For example, if you have a very rare jewel, a very special rare jewel, what do? You don't just make it open to the public. You are very, very careful in protecting it. Similarly, the devotees of the Lord are so rare and so special that they need to be protected, they need to be cared, and they need to be valued.
We all are in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, and Lord Chaitanya has given us three main principles: Namaruchi, Jivadaya, and Vaishnav Seva. That we should have deep attachment to the holy name, we should be eager to serve the devotees, and we should be very compassionate to the Jiva souls and try to bring them back to Krishna. So in this principle, we understand that Vaishnav Seva is a very, very deep principle. And in the beginning, we would like to introduce our topic, the taking care of Krishna's devotees, by narrating different stories from various acharyas from our Sampradaya, from the Sri Sampradaya, Ramanuja Sampradaya, from Srila Prabhupada's lives, making you understand that how important it is to serve the devotees. It is in the South Sri Sampradaya is a very great acharya named Gosti Purna. And Gosti Purna was one of the spiritual master of Ramanujacharya. Gosti Purna was such a pure devotee that he would serve every day Varadraj. Varadraj is in Kanchi. And he was such a pure devotee that every day he would be fanning Lord Varadraj. And when he would be doing that service, Varadraj would be actually speaking to Gosti Purna. So one day, one of the disciples of Gosti Purna asked him that, my dear spiritual master, can you please ask Varadraj when you serve him in the evening that will I go back to Godhead in this very lifetime? And Gosti Purna said, yes, I can ask him. So in the evening when he was fanning Lord Varadraj, he asked Lord Varadraj, my dear Lord, one of my disciples is very eager to know that will I go back to Godhead in this lifetime? And Lord Varadraj immediately replied, yes, please tell that disciple that he will go back to Godhead at the very end of this lifetime. And Rostikona was very happy. He conveyed the message to his disciple. And after a few days, Gostipurna had a thought in his mind that let me ask Lord Varadraj that will I go back to Godhead? And then he, while fanning the Lord, he started asking him, my dear Lord Varadraj, will I ever go back to Godhead? And in his heart, he was thinking maybe the answer is yes only, because if my disciple can go, even I will go. And to his great surprise, Lord Varadraj replied that no. And he was very surprised. He said, why, my Lord? He said, you are very great devotee. You are serving me personally. And when you are serving me personally, I am reciprocating with you by speaking to you. But saying then why my disciple is going? Saying your disciple is going because he is serving you. You are serving me, but he is serving you. Person who serves my devotees is more dear to me than one who serves me directly. And Gosipuna dropped the fan right there and he ran away from there and started hunting for devotees to serve them. So we understand that to Lord, how important and dear this service is to take care of his own devotees.
It is explained in the Bhagavatam that the Lord says, Sadhunam Hridayam Mayam, Sadhunam Hridayam Mayam, that I am, the devotees are my life, and I am the life of my devotee. I know nothing but my devotee, and devotee know nothing but me. So this whole understanding of serving Krishna, but not serving his devotees, is a very Kanishta understanding. But a higher understanding than just serving the Lord and including the service of his devotees is the real Madhyam understanding. And this we understand again by a very, very powerful example from the life of His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This powerful Acharya Simha, and he was established Gaudiya Math in various parts of India and also that time Bangladesh and other places surrounding India. This is the story where there was this beautiful temple opening of a large Gaudiya Math in Dhaka. And the disciples had worked very hard and they had constructed a very, very big, beautiful temple. And they invited Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur just a few days before the opening. And he came there. And they were also eager to serve the spiritual master and showcase the hard work that they had done to open this temple. So Bhakti Siddhanta said, well, it is wonderful that we have made this beautiful temple. I'm looking forward to the opening of the temple. But while I'm looking forward, let me also meet all the devotees. I had come here a few years back and I want to meet the devotees again. So the leader of the temple was introducing different devotees. Here is this person, he is doing this service, this service. And after everybody was introduced, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur asked that, well, when I came last time, there was this one particular brahmachari which I don't see right now. Where is he? And all the leaders, they put their face down. They were hoping that this was not asked, but it was asked by Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. They put their face down and said, Guru Maharaj, this devotee slightly misbehaved and we were a bit heavy with him. So he has left the temple, we don't know where is he gone. But after the opening, right now we are very busy with the opening. After the opening, we definitely search for him. But this is also Thakur made a very, very heavy statement. He said that for me, this whole temple opening will be of no use, will be of no relevance to me till you find this devotee. So everybody just left everything that they were doing for the temple opening, and they all searched. They went into search parties to find this brahmachari. So they went to different parts of Dhaka, and there was absolutely no clue where to find him. And then one devotee said that, well, this particular brahmachari was good at repairing watches, because a few days back, when my watch was not functioning well, he repaired my watch. So the only clue they had that, well, we can search for him in some watch repairing shops. So said, fine, let's search. So they was going to different shop repairing companies, shop repairing shops. And finally they described, and then yes, the owners at one place said that, yes, this person that you're describing just joined me a few days back. He's very much there. So they, please call him. And when this brahmachari came, he saw the great leaders, sannyasis, and he was crying tears. And the sannyasi said, please, we request you, please come back to the temple. Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is waiting for you. He is really wanting you to be back in the service of Krishna. So this brahmachari was crying. He came back to meet Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur again asked him to continue his service. My dear friends, this brahmachari went on to become a very, very wonderful sannyasi.
Haribol.
And every time where devotees would meet him, as a sannyasi, he would remember this particular pastime. And he would say that how my spiritual master protected me. So here is an example of a very important principle of projects are very important, but also, or maybe more important than projects, are people. Many times in our passion to grow, we give a lot of importance to projects. Yes, projects are important because they help us to spread the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It is the infrastructure and the various facilities that we have which can help us to spread the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. But the most important capital, the most important wealth that we have is what we call the human capital. The human capital means the wealth of the devotees. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, through his example, showed that yes, this temple opening was very wonderful. There was a huge temple that they opened. But without this one devotee back in the fold of the Vaishnava Sangha, this temple opening was of no use. Right? So this example also so beautifully shows in the contemporary days, this is right now, this is just happening in 100 years back, about the importance of devotee care to our own Param Guru Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarvabhauma Thakur.
We know so many examples of Srila Prabhupada that one incident I can recollect that Srila Prabhupada was in Guru Puja and there were devotees, hundreds of devotees singing Jai Prabhupada, and the Aarti, Guru Aarti was going on. And devotees were coming forward to offer flowers at feet of Srila Prabhupada. And when one devotee was walking towards Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada noticed that he had some infection in the foot and his foot was hurt. So in the middle of the Guru Puja, Srila Prabhupada stopped and asked him that, how is your foot? What did happen? Did you take some medicine? And do you need some money to buy some medicine? So we can see that the entire Guru Puja had no meaning. His heart was how I can take care of this devotee. Even in Mayapur in initial days, the devotees who came from the West giving up so many opulent comforts, and they were living in very, very primitive conditions. And Prabhupada would go in the night and he would see, do they have enough blankets? Do they have mosquito nets? Are they having enough prasadam? So Srila Prabhupada was always thinking how I can serve devotees, how I can take care of devotees. His Holiness Sachindan Maharaj narrates two beautiful stories. That there was a temple in ISKCON, somewhere in West, and he said in that temple, one gentleman was visiting the temple every Sunday for 20 years. And then one day, after 20 years, one senior devotee spoke to him that you have been coming every Sunday feast since last 20 years. You are always introducing yourself as a guest. Why don't you become our devotee, a ISKCON devotee? Why don't you join us? And he gave amazing reply. He said, I am observing the way you are taking care of your guests and the way you are taking care of your devotees. So I like to be your permanent guest. Because many times, we do a lot of innovative things to attract people to Krishna consciousness. But once they are in, then, we forget that we need to still take care of them. Sachindan Maharaj narrates one another beautiful story about heaven and hell. I think this is from Western scriptures. that a Jiva soul, after his death, he was taken by the angel and he was asked that for your good activities, you are supposed to go to heaven, and for your bad activities, you're also supposed to suffer in the hellish planet. So, what would you like to do first? So he said, yes, yes, I would like to go first to the hellish planet and suffer whatever karma I have done. So he was taken to the hellish planet, and the way we know how Sachindan Maharaj describes in his own style that it was a huge place, a very big city, very broad roads, tall buildings, and the angel entered with his Jiva soul into one building. And then there was a place, a very big dining room, long tables, chairs on both the sides, and in front of every chair there was a cup of soup. And there was something unique. There was spoon in front of every cup, but that spoon had very, very long handle. And then the bell rang, and people rushed in from all the gates, pushing each other, and they sat on their chair and they tried to drink the soup. But since the handle was very long, they couldn't reach, it couldn't go into their mouth, and most of the soup was spoiled, and then it was time to go back. And then the angel told the Jiva soul, now it is time for you to go to the heavenly planet. So they went to the heavenly planet. In the heaven also there were big city, broad roads, tall buildings. It looked quite similar to hell. And they entered a room, entered a building, and entered a dining room. And to his great surprise, it had the same long tables, chairs, cup of soup, and then there were spoons with long handles. And when the bell rang, what happened? People came in queue. They sat very nicely in front of the chairs. Then they offered their prayers. And first thing they did was they took the soup in their spoon and they started feeding to the opposite person. So it was very, very easy for everyone to feed others. And while they were feeding the opposite person, they themselves were also getting fed. So heaven and hell is not a material situation. It is a way our devotees are trained. If our devotees are trained and the state of consciousness, that how we should care for others, we should put others' needs first in before us. And if that consciousness pervades, then everyone will be satisfied and nourished.
So, we have this interesting small exercise I would like you all to do is that if you just see in your own lives, how did you become a devotee? What attracted you to devotee? It is usually, somebody was giving you a book, somebody was giving you some prasad, somebody who was giving a talk and you found the talk very, very interesting. Various, you went through some program. But in all the situations, you must have seen that the common factor was that the devotees who gave you a book or gave you prasad or was giving a talk, he was a happy devotee. Just imagine a scenario, where somebody comes to you with a book and said, well, please buy this Bhagavad Gita. And he himself is looking a little morose, not so happy. And then would you want to buy a book from me? I say, because you will say, well, if this book that you are selling is making you like this, then I don't want to buy that book. I don't want to buy this book. Similarly, it is explained in the early days in America, where devotees were just doing Harinam Sangat on the streets, and they were looking quite strange to the people because they were saying that what are these people wearing bed sheets? And what is this bird dropping on their forehead? They were looking very strange to the people, but still people liked them because one thing about them was very unique, that whatever it is, they look strange, but they look very happy. They were just dancing on the streets so happy. So that happiness was very, very special. So what we want to really see is that devotees who are in the society are happy devotees. Srila Prabhupada made this very, very wonderful statement. We have stickers which we stick all over. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Now the situation is that many times, we say this, we promote this, but many times the situation is something the completely opposite. That by chanting Hare Krishna, devotees are not happy, but they actually suffer. Now, is that something wrong with the philosophy or something wrong in which in the way we are executing the philosophy. The philosophy is perfect. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the philosophy. It is flawless. But in the way the philosophy is executed is the issue. So what is important is the greatest wealth of a society is happy devotees.
His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj describes a wonderful phenomenon called as revolving door phenomenon. He said many times we are, we are best in attracting new people to Krishna consciousness. And he was mentioning this about Russia, that in the initial days of preaching in Russia, there are thousands of people who will get attracted to Krishna consciousness because they had never heard about Krishna. And it is natural for the Jiva soul when you hear first about Krishna to get attracted to Krishna. But he describes, unfortunately, many would get in, and it was like a revolving door phenomenon. They would go out also from the same door. We couldn't retain so many devotees. So why we couldn't retain devotees? Because devotees, when they came to Krishna consciousness, they were happy, but then that happiness could not be sustained for a longer time. If we see that, do people live Krishna consciousness? And the answer is yes. Many times in 1 year, sometimes in 5 years, sometimes even after 20 years. And why do people live Krishna consciousness? Do they find a better philosophy than Bhagavad Gita?
Mhm.
Answer is no. Do they find better prasadam than ISKCON? Impossible. Do they find better kirtan than ISKCON? No way. We are the best kirtan. We are the best kirtaniyas in our society. Do they find better deities? We have the best deities in our ISKCON. So in spite of having best prasadam, best kirtan, best deities, best philosophy, the topmost philosophy, nobody can give a philosophy higher than this. Still devotees leave Krishna consciousness. And if in the analysis it says the mainly because they don't find satisfying relationships in Krishna consciousness. Because when we come to Krishna consciousness, many times we cut off, break all our relationship with the family members, with the friends, with the colleagues. And if you don't find those relationships, that family atmosphere in Krishna consciousness, it is very difficult to sustain in Krishna consciousness. It is a function of Lord Brahma to create and Lord Shiva to destroy. But the most difficult task is taken up by Lord Vishnu, it is maintenance. So that is why it is very important that we help devotees, we take care of them in such a way that they remain in Krishna consciousness for the rest of their life. An average devotee who becomes a devotee maybe at the age of 15, 16, 20, then at least 30, 40, 50 years, if he survives for 70, 80 years, that many years he has to remain enthusiastic, engage happily in Krishna consciousness. So it is actually all of our service to make sure that the devotees who take up Krishna consciousness, any devotee who has taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada, who has taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books, Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, he remains a devotee till the last breath of his life.
So basically, devotees have, we all have needs. We all have physical needs, mental needs, emotional needs, and spiritual needs. And yes, our philosophy, our practice very much addresses, the spiritual needs of the soul. But many times we forget that there are also needs. Devotees are human beings, and there's a need for the body, there's a need for the mind, and a need for some emotional needs. And and for taking care of this physical, mental, and emotional needs, we need a very strong support system. Like in any hospital, we have a good hospital is what a hospital which has good support system. Somebody's lungs are not functioning well, then there is a particular machine which helps you to really artificially help the person to breathe. And similarly, somebody whose kidneys are not functioning well, then there is the dialysis machine which really help you to really make the kidneys function well. So these are good support systems that we need. And similarly, in our society, we need very good support systems to really help us to take care of this devotee. I'm just remembering one example that we both experienced. This was we both were have been preaching to college students, and one of the boy, very intelligent from engineering college. He came to Krishna consciousness, became very interested. From after him, his sister also came to Krishna consciousness. But his father was not so interested in Krishna consciousness. So of course we were very close. He would come to our house for japa and everything. And suddenly one fine day, early morning, maybe at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, we got a call. 2 o'clock in the morning, we got a call. My wife happens to be a doctor, so he called. He said, my father has got this severe chest pain. Sister called, severe chest pain, and please do something. So we both rushed to the place, and we saw that we could see that this father had a severe heart attack. He was experiencing severe chest pain. So there was a need for him to be taken. Of course, we told him not to move. I carried him and put him in my vehicle, took him to the hospital. And they were not very well-to-do people, just maybe lower middle class in a family. So they didn't have the money that was required to really admit him to the hospital. So then we admitted. There was no money. So I said, don't worry. We arranged the money, from our friends, and we put it to the hospital, and we got them the right medical care at the right time, and this person survived. And you'll be surprised. Immediately, few days after that, after he came back home, this person naturally was feeling so indebted to devotees that the whole family became devotees. Now he is an initiated disciple of one of the spiritual masters in our society. So the point that we need to just drive is that yes, there are spiritual needs, but the devotee needs support systems to take care when he's in difficulty for his physical needs, for his emotional needs, for his mental needs. And if we have a whole infrastructure in our communities and as individuals, we help other devotees to create a facility where each of us are taking care of each other on a holistic WHO and holistic HOL, both for holistic care, obviously mixed with holistic care. With no care given without mixing Krishna consciousness, it becomes very mundane. So what we are talking about is holistic care, is care on all levels, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. But keeping Krishna in the center, and naturally, people will become so indebted, people will become so much obliged that they will naturally want to be devotees of Krishna.
We see that we spend so many resources, so much finances and so much manpower to attract people to Krishna consciousness, in the form of Rath Yatras, then festivals and kirtan melas, different seminars, preaching programs. And people do get attracted, jiva souls do get attracted to Krishna consciousness. And as we understand, we described it in the beginning that Srila Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So ideally, we all are supposed to be happy once we take up Krishna consciousness. Bhagavad Gita also mentions that this place is Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Whether you like or don't like, miseries do come. And we understand that in every devotee's life, sometimes there is physical health issues, some financial issues, some social issue, so many different difficulties can come. And it is not that we can solve all the problems of all the devotees. It is not practically possible. But at least if we can give our shoulder or just sit with that devotee and he can share his feelings with you, can share his problems with you, and if possible, we can, whatever way we can help, we can try to help him. That is very important. Because this world is Dukhalayam Shashvatam, but if you have supporting system of devotees, loving, caring devotees around you, then you can easily go through that suffering. I know so many of my god sisters, god brothers or devotees, sometimes they are suffering from cancer. And we know that there is no cure. But if there are devotees around them, giving them prasad, sometimes just reading for them, try to fulfill their small needs, those devotees, they feel so nourished. And then for them, they experience Krishna in those devotees, those who are helping them. So once they experience Krishna, it becomes very easy for them, even though they are in the most difficult situation of their life, it becomes very easy for them to sail through the difficult situation because they have the right care in the association of devotees. So when we say the word care, I was trying to analyze in my mind that CARE. So C is culture of Krishna consciousness. And C means for the care. C is culture of Krishna consciousness. We understand in microbiology the definition of culture. Culture is that environment in which a microorganism can grow very nicely. So Krishna conscious culture is that environment to create that environment around us so that every devotee or every jiva soul who takes up the process of Krishna consciousness in Varnashram can achieve the highest goal of Varnashram by achieving the goal of going back to Godhead. A stands for association. Maybe Prabhuji can describe the association.
Association is to provide to the devotees all the different types of association. Usually we see that we need association of seniors, which we will obviously have the service to the juniors, and we have association of equals. So if we can provide the facility, of course, it's a great hankering always to get senior association of senior devotees, spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada's disciples. We want to associate with them. But even if how much ever we want, there is only this much that we can get. I mean, that we can't get really more than that because they are busy with their various services and other things. So yes, senior association can be this much. The tendency is that we would love to be with the junior association, the people who are someone who are guiding, and it is good that we should definitely take care of them and guide them. But if we spend too much time with them, then obviously we will always be in a habit of getting, worshipped sometimes or glorified sometimes. So what is important is equal association. It are the equal devotees who will really help us and guide us and take care of us. If there's some difficulty, if there's some situation that they see, they will find the comfort to tell us, my dear Prabhu, I think I'm seeing that you are not doing your japa well. Or I feel that there's a need for you to really come to association of devotees more. You are really not really able to take care of the benefit of association. So to provide the adequate right balance of equal junior and senior association, the right percentage of this association is another very important need to take care of the devotees in a holistic way.
So C is for culture, A is for association. You give your association to juniors, you take association of seniors, and in front of equals, you are like an open book because only equals can tell you, Prabhu, you are sleeping in your japa. Prabhu, why are you not coming for Mangala Aarti? And equals will always help us together to progress in Krishna consciousness. So to have more facility in the term of care, to have that equal association. We can have in the form of like how we are having this Bhagavatam class, or we can have in the form of studying Bhagavatam together, or doing japa together. So that is one aspect of care, association. Then R is relationships. We all hanker for very close relationships. And we all know that when we took up Krishna consciousness, we cut off many of our very close relationships. So if we don't find that family atmosphere in ISKCON, in local temple, or in wherever ISKCON community we are, then it is very difficult for us to continue the process of Krishna consciousness. What do we mean by family atmosphere? Where we find love and trust, and we are most comfortable. When you are with your family, you are most comfortable. You are not having any mask in front of your face because it is very natural. So we need to be natural like that. We should have those groups, create those groups where we can be what we are, and that is relationship. And E stands for education and training. When devotees come to Krishna consciousness, it is not that everyone is trained in the culture of Krishna consciousness. So we can have regular seminars, regular programs where the devotees who are joining new or who are progressing slowly in Krishna consciousness. If they are joining new, then they have to know how to offer prasad, how to perform aarti, how to chant, how to read books, how to make some notes, and try to put that Krishna conscious philosophy practically into their life. And as they grow, if you have come as young students and you get married, then how to lead an ideal Krishna conscious grihastha life. Once you become a parent, how to become a good Krishna conscious parent and how to train our children in Krishna consciousness. So E is education and training in various aspects of Krishna consciousness. Because please understand that an untrained devotee causes much more harm than an outsider. ISKCON has suffered terribly, not by outsiders. Whenever the outsiders are trying to do something against ISKCON, we have come out victorious, more glorious, and more powerful. But whenever the untrained devotees who have caused some harm from within, we are still suffering. So it is very, very important that taking care of the devotee is one of the important aspects of E is care, is education and training of every single devotee who takes shelter of Srila Prabhupada.
It is seen that many times, when somebody becomes a devotee, if he's well, now I'm a devotee, so I will naturally be a good father, I'll naturally be a good mother, I'll naturally be a good husband. But it is not the fact. A good devotee does not make a good father or a good mother. He needs, it's necessary for him to be trained or her to be trained into being a good wife or a good husband. So there's a training required. How does one execute Krishna consciousness in a family environment? How does one execute Krishna consciousness being parents? So I think this is another very, very important aspect of care, which is training. And as we're thinking about this various aspects of care on all levels, many people might say, well, this is not so much required. We just deal with the needs of the soul. But we also find in the life of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you see the example, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Shivananda Sen to please take care of the finances of Vasudeva Datta. Now here is a sannyasi who is a detached sannyasi, Vairagi. He had no attachments. And he was talking to Shivananda Sen, who was a Grihastha, talking about Vasudeva Datta, who was quite a wealthy person. But Vasudeva Datta was such a generous disposition he had that he would just give money to anybody and everybody. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very concerned. Here he was a sannyasi, of course, Supreme Personality of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he told Shivananda Sen, please, you are an intelligent Grihastha, very, very calculative, because he was the one, Shivananda Sen was the one who would make facilities for devotees when they would travel from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. And he would make all the facility arrangements. He would really do all the transactions at the local tolls, to pay the tolls, do bargaining with them. So he had a lot of business acumen. So he said, Shivananda Sen, I'm telling you, please take care of the finances of Vasudeva Datta. Now, what does this very simple but a profound story show? The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while he was a detached person, he was very much aware about the need to take financial, or basically what we call it, financial management. And we talk about financial management now, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Shivananda Sen to do the financial management of Vasudeva Datta. Yeah. So in our scriptures, we also have the example of King Prataparudra. King Prataparudra, he was a king, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not wanting to meet him. He said, no, as a sannyasi, I will not meet a king. But the devotees, they were very caring. They knew that King Prataparudra had such intense desire to meet Lord Chaitanya. He was even ready to give up his position as a king. But the devotees, headed by Lord Nityananda, said, no, please, we will slowly make sure. And of course, as the story goes, they made a beautiful arrangement so that ultimately the Lord gave the mercy to King Prataparudra. So this was the stories about showing that how caring the devotees were to the needs, not necessarily the spiritual needs, but the other needs also of these devotees in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
We can see that King Prataparudra did not need any material help because he was the one who was helping others. But he needed spiritual help. So devotees made sure, because Lord Chaitanya had refused to meet any king. Somehow that they brought his son in first in front of the Lord, and he met his son, and then at Rath Yatra, during Rath Yatra time, they made sure that King Prataparudra could get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is filled with the stories of care for the devotees. We know that famous pastime of Kala Krishna Das. Kala Krishna Das was personal servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was in his South India tour. And at one point of time, he got distracted diverted by Bhattaharis. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself went and brought him out from that association of Bhattaharis. So when he came back to Jagannath Puri, he told Nityananda, this is your servant, this is your devotee, and now I have nothing to do with him. But Lord Nityananda Prabhu, knowing that, okay, Kalakrishna Das has made some mistake, where he's human, and he had actually made some blunder. But can we give up him as a devotee? No. Lord Nityananda Prabhu decided he and other devotees give a very special service to Kalakrishna Das. That they told him that you go to Nadia, to Mayapur, and since you were with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for last few months, few days, few years in fact, that you narrate all the pastimes of Sachi Mata and all the devotees of Nadia, so that they don't miss the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can see here that how devotees are so expert in engaging this devotee who had actually made some blunders, but they took care of him.
So basically, if you see the example in the case of Shivananda Singh taking care of the financial needs of Vasudeva Datta. Now, in the case of Kalakrishna Das, he was emotionally completely deranged. You can imagine he was emotionally finished because he realized that what a blunder he had committed. So devotees took care of his emotions. As respecting his emotions, yes, we know that you are emotionally completely deranged, completely in a very bad shape. Here, we'll give you this service so that you can emotionally raise your emotional quotient.
And
so this is sorry.
And then you can again, he could bring up his self-worth, because I'm sure he must be so dejected that what a blunder I made. But devotees knew exactly how to support him in such a way, give him such a service that he feels his self-worth and he can serve the other devotees.
None of devotees said, "Oh, you are fallen. Now what is this? How unfortunate you are. You conversation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still you fell down." I mean, it is easy to just point fingers at people and say that how fallen you are. But you find in Chaitanya Charitamrita, nobody did that. They just simply took care of a person. Yes, Kalakrishna Das did fall down. It was definitely a fall down. But they didn't point fingers at him. But they took care of him. When Sanatana Goswami was in Vrindavan, and we know that he was a very, very favorite a saint for the Brijabasis. And when Sanatana Goswami would meet the Brijabasis, what he would ask? He would ask apparently very, very mundane questions. That how is your daughter? Did she get married? How was your crop that this year? What are you going to plant next year? How is your relationship with the family? So this was Sanatana Goswami, who was one of the senior. I mean, we all know Sanatana Goswami, very senior Goswami. Manjari in the spiritual world. When he's meeting the Brijabasis, he's not talking about Krishna. Okay, let's sit and talk about Krishna Tattva.
Yes, all the time.
I'm sure they did it. But when he met them, he also inquired about their physical needs, how are they doing in their finances, how are the crops growing, how is the marriage of their daughters, how is the marriage of their son. So please understand, our acharyas are showing by their examples. Yes, the prominent factor is Krishna consciousness, but we cannot just execute only Krishna consciousness. Our whole life is a complete life, a holistic life where all aspects of our life have to be taken care, and a devotee has to be taken care on all these aspects.
There is another example from Chaitanya Charitamrita about Narayani. Narayani was the niece of Shiva's Thakur's niece. And at very young age, she's the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur. And at very young age, she became a widow. And the instruction was given to Vasudeva Datta that please take care of Narayani. Because Narayani was a widow now with a small child. And whenever we go to Mamgachi, we see that famous temple, that how in Vasudeva Datta's house, Vrindavan Das Thakur was raised so nicely. That woman who was a widow, and in those days, 500 years back, a widow had a very, very primitive condition. She was not even allowed to go out of the house. But it was made sure that her son and she were taken very good care. So we can see there are so many examples in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Again and again, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and devotees are showing that it is very, very important to take care of devotees on all the levels. We can say in the modern word, from womb to tomb. on all different levels. We can have a support system, we can have uh, facilities where devotees, when they need something, they do not have to interact too much out with the material energy. They have that support system among each other. And I feel personally, both of us feel this is an excellent service for grihasthas. Most of the grihasthas who are not full-time devotees, we are staying outside as a congregation devotees, and we have our own house, we have our own services, we have our jobs, the way we do our things. But if we as grihasthas, if we decided, okay, I want to take care of few devotees, I want to make sure that devotees around me are taken care nicely. If each one of us take this small responsibility of taking care of few devotees, I think there is nothing bigger service which is pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, to our individual spiritual masters, and to Lord Krishna himself. Because I feel this is the greatest opportunity we grihasthas have, that even though staying in our houses, we all know that we are in the comforts of our houses, and comforts of our own jobs, and whatever facilities we have, those facilities we can share with other devotees and help them, and make sure that whatever possible way they remain devotees for the rest of the life.
We would just like to end with a very, very story, something which has personally very strongly affected us and given us the conviction about the need of devotee care. This is something which happened in our own in our own interaction many, many years back. There was a devotee, from a small town in Maharashtra in India, in a town called Belgaum, and there was preaching happening there. And this devotee who was originally from the goldsmith family, he was in the college. Through the college, he became a devotee, and he came to the Sri Radha Gopinath temple at Mumbai. He said, "I want to become a brahmachari." So he came and became a brahmachari. A very simple person, a person not having some dynamism of being a great speaker or a great orator or something, but very simple person who was just wanting to serve the devotees, serve his spiritual master. This person came, he got initiated. His name was given as Spoka Krishna Prabhu, and he went on to become a very, very first class top book distributor of a temple, because he would just be so innocent and so simple that he would just take the book, and he would of course talk to the people, and people would be so convinced seeing his simplicity and honesty that he would buy the book, and he in due course became the top book distributor. And then he went on to become the personal servant of one of the spiritual masters who were visiting Radha Gopinath temple. Wonderful service. I mean, he did a wonderful service for the spiritual master, personally serving for many, many years. But then, as the years went by, he stayed as a brahmachari for maybe 12 to 14 years, significant number of years as brahmachari. But then he realized that the best he can serve is by becoming a grihastha. So the community, of course, he was a brahmachari coming from a very simple family, didn't have any savings, didn't have any facilities. The community arranged for him, the devotees chipped in, and they bought a house for him. And they gave a house at least, while you have served the temple, now you need a house, you are getting married, so there is a house. He needed a job, so he was given a job in at Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Mumbai. He was trained because he didn't have training, so he was trained for a particular job. So he got a job, he got a house, he got married. The marriage was done through the marriage board. There was a marriage board which provided the right girl, and they got married. And everything was going well. Of course, he was struggling. Not easy for this gentleman to really, the transition was not easy, as we all know, because staying as a brahmachari. But yes, all facilities were there to really for helping to transit from brahmachari life to grihastha life. He got married after somewhat 14 months of his marriage. Very intense devotee he was. 14 months. His health was not keeping well. He went through some medical checkups, and it was diagnosed that he was on third degree of cancer,
Lung cancer.
very advanced lung cancer, and he just had few months. He just had few months to live, And this was so shattering. I remember when we got this news. I mean, we were in a meeting, the meeting of the leaders at the temple. We got news that Krishna Prabhu has got this terminal cancer. We were all so shocked, and I said, "What can we do now?" So they said that we will decided that we will chip in everything to get him the best treatment. He didn't have money to get the treatment, so we chipped in to get the best possible treatment, the
And
best hospital in Bombay.
his wife was pregnant at that time, 4 months pregnant.
His wife was pregnant, 4 months old baby in the womb. So we gave him the treatment. He got the treatment, but still the cancer was so rapidly progressing that there was no treatment that really worked. So then we shifted him to Bhaktivedanta Hospital. He was paralyzed from hip below. He couldn't even walk. He was just bedridden. But devotees would meet him hour after hour after hour to give him all the support, all the care. They told Krishna Prabhu, we are all with you. Don't worry. Grihasthas took complete care of him. And as he was progressing, he was
They were
deteriorating.
reading, there are different slots of reading. Devotees would visit, and somebody would read Chaitanya Charitamrita, somebody would read Bhagavatam.
And devotees were reading for him, and the ladies also made sure that they were taking care of his wife. And of course, please understand, a lady who is young, just married 14 months, having a baby in the womb, and what sort of emotional trauma this can be causing to ladies, the senior ladies took care of him. So here the ladies were taking care of the wife. So Mr. Prabhu was taking care medically and physically. And then he became, I mean, he was so happy with the situation. Actually, he said that, well, I'm very happy with the way this is happening, because he was just inspired by the life of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, who had just, a year back also had similar situation, and of course he had left his body to go back to Godhead. So he was inspired, well, that this is perfect. Whatever Krishna is giving, I want to accept it. And he became such a dynamic preacher that he was actually the speaker during the Sunday Bhagavatam class. Sunday morning Bhagavatam class was a slot for the senior most devotees in the congregation and among brahmacharis. But he got the slot. He would every Sunday address the congregation
From the hospital bed.
From the hospital bed, and the devotees were so enlivened hearing him. But of course, cutting the story short, he was really deteriorating. And at one point of time, we knew that it was just few days, before he will be leaving his body. So the brahmacharis took over. And said, now, he'll be shifted to the temple, and the brahmacharis took care of him. He was given a room in the temple, and all the brahmacharis, which were of course his old friends also, they took care of him with the Sloka Krishna Prabhu. Now come on, go ahead, no attachments, go ahead, we are all with you. And Sloka Krishna Prabhu got all the facilities and all the support, to really, face this very, very, very crucial part of his life. I'm sure we all are going to go through this. But he was giving all the support. His wife was giving all the support.
She already delivered a baby girl by then.
She had delivered a baby girl, and then at that most faithful moment. Now, please understand. At the same time, one of the very senior devotees in the congregation, a very successful businessman, a millionaire, in fact, he had his daughter's marriage at the same time, and there were different functions before the marriage. So on that particular faithful day, with Sloka Krishna Prabhu, surrounded with devotees,
Surrounded by a spiritual
master,
and two other ISKCON gurus and Brijbasis who specially came.
Some of them they came, yeah.
Same Brijbasis who also had visited Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj.
They were there. So on that faithful day, with all this wonderful environment, he left his body. And when he left his body, there was practically the whole congregation, thousands of people in the temple, present,
chanting in the different corners of every room of the temple and sending their prayers to Krishna Prabhu.
Please understand, Krishna Prabhu was not a very, very senior leader, not a very, very wealthy person. He was a simple, ordinary brahmachari. He became a grihastha, but the whole congregation was there. And then this, as I was talking about this businessman whose marriage of his daughter was there. He said that my own family member has left. So one of the very important functions where hundreds and thousands of people were going to come for the function, he cancelled that function. I said, how can I have this function when my own family member is no more? It's a time of mourning. So how can I have this function? So that was cancelled.
All the prasad cooked for hundreds of people was sent to different orphanages and the you know poor people's homes so that prasad is not wasted. But the entire congregation sat there. huh? Everybody was just simply chanting, and we all have witnessed the glorious departure of Lord Krishna Prabhu. And there is so much satisfaction, and it increased the faith in the heart of each and every devotee that this process works. Krishna consciousness works, and devotee care actually works because all the devotees were there to take care of that one individual soul. So they got that faith that tomorrow something happens to me, there are going to be devotees who are going to look after me.
And his if his daughter, his wife, there was a particular devotee who came forward and said, I will take care of all the financial needs of this lady till the time she's on her own feet. So she supported the daughter. Of course, we are very happy that Sogesh's daughter is still in our own school, Gopal's Garden High School. There was a school which was there, the school took care of the daughter. So when we saw this example, as Kishori was sharing with you, it was such a very, very strong conviction in our hearts that this process works. This is a very caring society. Whenever I need, whatever type of help I need, I'm going to get this help. So with that support system, will not a devotee execute Krishna consciousness with all enthusiasm? There won't be anything that he will keep behind. There won't be any hesitation. There will be wholesale surrender to Srila Prabhupada's mission. When we have an environment of where the congregation is there, where we are going to be taken care of on all levels. So this is actually what Srila Prabhupada has given us, the gift of Srila Prabhupada, a powerful process which works, a powerful process which gives all facilities to execute Krishna consciousness with such enthusiasm and such dynamism. But if the process is there, but the support system is not there, then devotees in due course will be able to give wholesale surrender to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. And that's why we thought of addressing, so they asked us what topic you want to speak. This is one topic which is very, very close to our hearts.
I would like to end with one story, and this is also a real story, narrated by one of the devotees. He's a temple president of very famous ISKCON temple in India and Kolkata. And one evening, in fact, this devotee gets a call from some lady that he was in the temple, he's a temple president, and he gets a call that, my mother is leaving her body and she is a devotee of Krishna and we don't have a picture of Krishna in the house. Can you please send us a Radha Krishna photograph from your temple? I'm sending the driver. And this temple president started looking in his gift shop, Radha Govindji, because Kolkata temple has Radha Govindji deities. So he was looking for Radha Govindji's photograph, but to his great surprise, there was not a single photograph in the gift shop. So he went to his room and he thought maybe in my room there is. So in his room there was Radha Shyam Sundar picture of Vrindavan. So when the driver came, he sent a big photograph of Radha Shyam Sundarji, and it was delivered in that Mataji's house. After 15 days, she called again and she thanked this temple president that my mother has gloriously departed and she has left her body. And the photograph which you sent, we had put on the top of the ceiling so that my mother was on the bed and she could constantly see that photograph. So when she departed also, her eyes were constantly on the photograph of Radha Shyam Sundar and saying, I would like to come to your temple and do some donation on behalf of my mother. And when she came, she narrated something very, very unusual to this temple president. She told that my mother was actually a princess of a royal family. And before independence, there were few royal families, and my mother was a princess. And when Srila Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, building Krishna Balram temple, my mother had visited Srila Prabhupada. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada requested her to give some donation. And my mother kindly agreed, and she was the one who donated Radha Shyam Sundar deities to Srila Prabhupada. And we can see that Krishna cares. She gave the deities of Radha Shyam Sundar, and here Radha Shyam Sundar was personally present to take her back. So Krishna cares. So devotees also should care. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, and please, try to just ruminate over the discussion that we've had, and of course, if it makes any sense to you all, then please let us see how we can make a society. We have a lot of care already, but there's always a need to do more and more and more. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share something with all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji, very wonderful experiences you have related. And it's enlivening and also nourishing. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the encouraging words.
Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji. I have a question.
Yes, Mataji.
Thanks so much for the nice lecture. I have a question. The devotee who is getting the care from senior devotee, how should that devotee reciprocate? And what all precautions the devotee should take, and how the devotee should reciprocate the care and love that he or she is receiving from the senior devotee.
I would also again like to tell you some examples. We have few of our friends. One of my friend, Sita Mataji, maybe you all are aware. And when Sita Mataji became devotee, she came from a family and we used to have a lot of yatras and programs. So when she was new in Krishna consciousness, she didn't have so much financial help as a student. So whenever there would be any yatra, our very senior godbrother and godsister Adikesha Prabhu and Premla Mataji would kindly provide that Lakshmi for her to attend the yatra. And Sita Mataji recollects that now when she has Lakshmi and she can afford, she does the same thing for others. I remember Adikesha Prabhu and Premla Mataji when we were young medical students. We didn't have a hostel facility, so we would stay with them. And what nice hospitality we have experienced. Still, we have those deep memories, and because of those deep memories, we have very, very strong relationship with the same family. And now, as I see that if it is possible, whenever it is possible for me, I like to do the same thing for others. So when you receive that care from the senior devotees, it is the best way to reciprocate is you also do the same thing for others. It's a vicious cycle. It's a cycle actually, not a vicious cycle. Sorry, it's a cycle where virtuous cycle that you receive the help and you feel the encouragement to do the same thing for the others because it will happen very naturally. It is not that somebody will have to tell you because what you have received, you have experienced, naturally you want to share it with others. And that is the way we want to build up our society. Right?
Yes, ma'am. Got it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji. Thank you so much for wonderful discussion. I like the point that everybody taking care of the
Thank you for encouraging us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for a wonderful session. I really like how you explained what the importance of devotee care, so depending on the scriptures also, and then the importance of care not only in the patient side but even for others, and the importance of the support system to take care of this. I feel I really see the importance of it, and I'm actually inspired from your class to take next steps to know more and learn more, to do something.
Thank you. That is very encouraging.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm also selfish, so I also want to take care of my family and also other devotees in the community. So that's where I am right now. I wanted to owe it to me. I find many devotees who have exceptional strength given by Krishna in terms of like common sense, loving nature, friendly nature, compassionate nature. They are very selfless. They have nice mode of service also. But many times I find many of these aspects are that correctly. But I would like to seek the mercy and learn, of course, whatever I can. So I wanted to see if you have any next step resources you can suggest that will help me to go further understanding the limitations in terms of common sense, loving nature, friendly nature, like that.
I think personally, if you want to send some material, if you want some material and some more help, you can contact us personally through Adi Gadadhar Prabhu. But one thing I would like to tell you that we have personally experienced in our lives that when you have your sadhana very strong, especially your chanting, morning chanting, good attentive rounds, and somehow other Krishna inspires you from within, how to help the devotees. Because you personally experience sometimes, after you chant very nicely, good attentive rounds, and you will feel from within, phone this devotee or talk to this devotee. And whenever we have spoken to that devotee genuinely needed some help. So this Krishna, if you have the genuine desire to help, to take care of the devotees, and if you have very strong sadhana, it is Paramatma within the hearts of the devotees will make connection. So have faith in this. So try to improve, your sadhana, to improve the standard of your sadhana. At the same time, develop the genuine compassion and care for the devotees. These are the two things which are the main ingredients for doing this service.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji, such a beautiful class. Literally so many of them. This is the first time, probably, the congregation is there, which was also just hearing about the concept of devotee care. And the way you brought out this whole topic, it really touched my heart. Thank you. But you talked also about the training. So, how can one be trained exactly to develop be as a person individual, but the last condition?
No, so basically, in whatever community you belong to or something, there should be a particular group of devotees who are dedicated to seeing the needs of the community and accordingly, creating training programs, training modules, training seminars, and of course, there's so much resources available in our overall worldwide society of ISKCON. There is a whole devotee care committee, which is being instituted by the GBCs. There's so much resources there. So yes, resources are there, but it always has to be tailor made to the needs of a particular community or something. So I think the first step, and as you rightly understood, that training is the most important, and so first step is to really have certain devotees or small subcommittee or some group of devotees coming together, who find the need to train and to come together and see how we can really execute and set up training programs, and in a very systematic way, uh, you know uh, disseminate this training to the congregation. And what we see that slowly with this training for the whole congregation, the whole congregation rises from the Kanishta to the Madhyam level. Because it's not just the individuals, but individuals, who are part of the congregation. If all of them also slowly rise, and the overall mood of the congregation, is risen, and that what happens with the training program. So on a practical level, there's a need to really set up a training cell in your respective communities, and then find the need, and then seek out whatever resources are available. So much resources are there, and then learn. Create a facility how to disseminate this training in the congregation. That will be very very useful, and that will really be long lasting, because each of the training creates such deep influence in the individuals, that they can really be very strong committed devotees.
And if we have a group of very nicely trained devotees, then preaching will become very, very easy because such wonderful, trained, happy devotees will naturally attract many more to our movement.
Does it answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, in our place, we definitely have like a family out there, a family of all the good people. So we have all that. Lot of loving relationships, everything is great.
Very good.
But the concept of the training which you're saying, the training is committee. So basically, you need to say in every some of the response centers, they do have this committee which will be getting together and then training each other. I mean, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
understand.
I can just
How
share. I can just share some example. For example, we realized in our temple that there was, originally everybody came as young boys and girls from college preaching, but then there were so many marriages happening, so there was a need for marriage training. So then we created a Grihastha committee to really set up a proper modules for Grihastha training. So that was the beginning of the Grihastha training. And then obviously this is Grihasthas, they went on to become parents and they were figuring it out, how what do I do being parents. So there was a whole module created for the right type of parenting in Krishna consciousness,
And a school.
and there was a school created. So I think, and then there were so many leaders which are there. So there was constant leadership training to give the leaders the right
Mood.
right understanding, the right mood, and the right skills, sadachar and skills, to really be nice leaders. So as and when there's a need in the community to create the particular modules, so over years, all various aspects of the congregation, the whole gamut of the congregation development is addressed. Whether it is parenting, is grihastha, leadership training,
Vanaprasthas.
vanprastha training. I mean, so as and when the need comes, you create a training program.
Also, you can, if you need some modules, we can share some modules personally with you. Also, like in our temple kitchen, because the standard of kitchen also was raised, the type of prasadam we eat, the hygiene standards, the type of food we eat, everything was raised. So training is like unending. You can go on so many different aspects of life. Now, there are some devotees who felt that devotees should learn how to do yoga, do some exercises, and maintain their health. So they came up with a program, and then that was implemented. So many different things, in fact. And Krishna will inspire you that you feel that there is a need of training, and it will be done. So mainly, if you can do, if there's a devotee care committee which is set up in your community, and they look after all the different needs, and they can have subcommittees where there are other devotees who can take responsibility of individual different trainings. They themselves are trained first, or you come up with your own training modules. We can share some training modules which we have with us with you, on you, but it is it may not be as it is used by you. You can edit or whatever,
Little bit.
add whatever is required, and you make it your community friendly. Yes, Mataji?
thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, and I will really request, I will request your organization, you all can come also and give other seminars, like parenting and other things. It really would help and benefit everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Very good wonderful and very good. So we can see that how the heart of the congregation, how devotees are very well cared for and the youth, the work of Madam White. Prabhuji, can you give me your contact number or the how to contact you guys?
Before that, I was just going to say that in Chopati, it is still work in progress. So, I think we are constantly trying to do it. It is still a long way to go. That's something important that you all should definitely note. It is work in progress. And as far the numbers are concerned, I think if you can be in touch with Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, he would have all the details.
Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you all very much. It was wonderful, spending this.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very, very wonderful class, Prabhuji. We all do that to hear her together. I enjoyed it so much. please give the situation for because we know you are so busy, but still we need your appreciation.
Thank you, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, please come back in the call.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Hari Bol.
Thank you. Thank you for encouraging words.
Hare Krishna.
Let's say or and Pavanebhyo Namo Namo. Motivation in